Hi everyone, this is Ryan Schambers, Premier Challenge winner at Fremont, California, and today I'm going to review Porygon-Z. Now, there's two main ways to use Porygon-Z, and I know you're looking at this Ninetales, I'll explain it in a second, but it has to do with the Blizzard. So, this is one way to use Normalium Z. You used to see a lot of this on Showdown, and maybe Wi-Fi, and the main idea of it is to get up a conversion, and Blizzard is in the first slot because when you use Z conversion, it changes typing to the first slot. So if you're trying to use Blizzard with Hail, then you're going to have Blizzard in the first slot. And a lot of people use Adaptability because the other abilities aren't that good. Download doesn't always activate, and Analytic is only good if you're going last. Okay, so Adaptability pretty much boosts the normal power to double instead of 1.5, sort of like that water bubble ability that Araquanid has. And then, okay, so Blizzard Tri-Attack Conversion Thunderbolt. This covers almost everything in the game. It does decent damage. It does a lot of spread damage after a conversion with Blizzard. However, Ice is kind of bad defensive typing, and you do have some Pokemon like Kartana that can outspeed and possibly one-shot it with Sacred Sword. So another option over Thunderbolt would also be Shadow Ball, and that would be for Pokemon like Marowak that may wall all of those moves, and you may want Shadow Ball over Thunderbolt. But Thunderbolt is good for the water types, the flying types. Blizzard covers some of the flying types, so I could see either Shadow Ball or Thunderbolt for this slot. Now let me get to the EVs. With this much speed, it pretty much max. I mean, maybe you could lower it a little bit, but this one speed ties with other Porygon-Zs. It's a good EV spread to start out with. Max offense. I don't think you need timid because 142 times 1.5 is greater than 200 speed, so it would already outspeed Tapu Koko. This one would actually speed tie though with max speed, non-speed raising for Hermosa, so that might be an issue. Okay, so Ninetales pretty much just brings in the hail for Porygon-Z. I could see you using Vanillix also, but you may want Ninetales as its second fast Pokemon, and hopefully you can do enough damage to finish them off before they get an attack off. Then, by the way, for conversion, if Tri-Attack was the first move, Porygon-Z would remain as a normal type, same with conversion, same with Shadow Ball. So it really depends on your team on what type you want to convert to. Okay, so this is another Porygon-Z that I've been seeing a lot, and people like to use Hyperbeam with it first turn. Hyperbeam can miss, usually doesn't, but it's still very powerful, especially with adaptability. That thing can one-shot almost anything. So what I like to do is I normally lead Kartana and a ghost type versus it, or some Pokemon like Kartana or Marowak with my ally protecting. So they usually Hyper Beam my ally that's going to protect, and then hopefully my other ally can kill it or weaken it or something, and then I finish it off. So if not, I may have to just protect and then switch out to another Hyper Beam resistance. I sometimes even use a Steel type to resist the damage and then kill them right as they're recharging so they don't get to fire off another one. So one idea I used to use with moves like Hyper Beam, recharging moves, is you could use an ally with Whirlwind so you don't have to recharge. Yeah, you have to use a move with an ally, but I mean, if you save this Hyper Beam for later, it could do some serious damage. However, in the back, moves like Hyper Beam and Choice Scarf also may not be as effective because they may set up the speed advantage like Tailwind or Trick Room. So just be aware of that. And basically, if it's Choice Scarf, you could run Blizzard if you want to, but I don't know if you should really use a choice item with a move that can miss unless you bring in Hail. You may want to just use Ice Beam and then either Thunderbolt or Shadow Ball again. And Tri-Attack's not really necessary since you have Hyper Beam, so I could see you replacing Tri-Attack possibly with Shadow Ball. You know, I'm open to a lot of different options, but I mean, just looking at the moves it gets, I don't really see a lot else that Porygon-Z could really use. And to be honest, I think I've only tested Porygon-Z maybe a couple times. The Choice Scarf one seems best in my opinion, just because you don't have to wait for conversion to do some serious damage. Hyperbeam can one-shot almost anything in the game, and with Choice Scarf you outspeed almost everything. So it puts the opponent in a really bad spot because they may be able to wall Hyper Beam, but how are they going to wall Hyper Beam, Shadow Ball, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt with both of their two guys? You know, you could probably one-shot one or possibly two with all of these moves, and it makes it quite difficult to counter Porygon-Z, but I just happen to have a team that I don't think has a real issue with it. If you use a lot of Ghost and Steel types and fast Pokemon like Kartana that can one-shot it, I mean, yeah, they could use Hyper Beam, but if you have a Sash or a resisting Pokemon, you should be able to wall it in one shot. Possibly use Celestelia with a lot of attack and just heavy slam it, or there's lots of different ideas out there. You could basically fake it out and set up Tailwind or Trick Room and then kill it with, let's say, Hariyama and Porygon-Z. Set up the Trick Room, one-shot it with the fighting move. There's lots of different ways, so I could imagine using Porygon-Z with Tapu Lele just to make sure I don't get fake outed, and then it could have a lot of offensive pressure like that. I think Tapu Lele and Ninetales would be good partners for Porygon-Z, but like I said, I really would have to test it out a lot more to know exactly how to use it. I'm just going by my intuition and what I've seen. Now, any other item on Porygon-Z, you could use maybe Specs or something, but I personally don't think it's fast enough to really need Specs to really use it well. I feel like it needs speed the most. It already has a lot of offense, so if you give it Choice Scarf, I feel like this is the best Porygon-Z to use right now. And it does get something weird like Conversion 2, but that wouldn't help at all. So Conversion 2 basically heals all your HP as far as I know, and it resists the target's last move. This could be a decent move if it was bulkier, but it's not. And then in Porygon 2, it pretty much needs Eviolite for it to work right, so I can't see a Normalium Z, Porygon-Z doing very well on average. It could catch some people off guard, but overall, I think this covers the main best ways to use Porygon-Z. Please leave me feedback in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video.